In an interview with Jim Morrison that appeared in the Doors' American Prayer album, Jim Morrison elaborates more on the possession experience that
freaking out and just leaped into my soul, and you're still.
Even Doors producer Paul Rothchild admitted, quote, "This spirit entered Jim's body. That was a pivotal event in his entire life. He always viewed himself as a shaman having mystical powers. It was this power that drove him and turned him into a seer." Here we see Jim Morrison on the front cover of the Doors album 13. And who is he with? None other than the Satanist Aleister Crowley. Jim Morrison echoed Satanist Aleister Crowley's satanic philosophy for the world revolution, do what thou wilt, with his own declaration that there are no rules. Morrison also stated, "I feel spiritual up there. Think of us as erotic politicians. I am interested in anything about revolt, disorder, chaos, especially activity that has no meaning." Here we see a picture of Jesus Christ with his disciples at the Last Supper. Below this picture, we see Jim Morrison and his disciples with Aleister Crowley, apparently drawing the conclusion that just as Jesus Christ had his apostles, Aleister Crowley the Satanist has his disciples as well. Jim Morrison recognized as a songwriter he was only a vehicle, and that he and the rest of the Doors were only open and willing mediums to other forces. The picture that you see before you, that he felt he looked pretty satanic. In Morrison's song The Soft Parade, he reiterates the theme of selling one's soul to Satan for power and fame. Quote, "You gotta slay a few animals at the crossroads." For Jim Morrison, the crossroads would be UCLA and Venice Beach. After bombing on the finals at UCLA on film, Morrison went down to Venice Beach to live. It was there that Satan would offer him fame and power and fortune as a rock star if Morrison would do his bidding. It was there at Venice Beach, as Jim lived on the roof of an old abandoned building, that Satan communicated music to Jim Morrison, who couldn't even sing at the time, through visions. It was here that Jim Morrison opened his heart up to Satan's vision. Jim Morrison admitted of this experience. In that year, there was an intense visitation of energy. He said, "I left school and went down to the beach to live. I slept on a roof. I met the spirit of music." Who was that spirit? He said, "An appearance of the devil on a Venice canal. Running, I saw Satan." The material that Satan would communicate to Jim was abandoned office building, sleeping on the roof. I just started hearing songs. I heard in my head a whole concert situation with a band and singing and an audience, a large audience. Those first 5 or 6 songs I wrote, I was just taking notes at a fantastic rock concert that was going on inside my head. Jim Morrison, who was incredibly shy and could not sing a lick, went through a demonic transformation on stage as the demons that possessed him sang through him. Ray Manzarek, the Doors keyboard player, points out that Jim Morrison was an electric shaman, and we were the electric shaman's band, pounding away behind him. It would take him over. I could hit a chord and make him twitch, and he'd go off again. Sometimes he was just incredible, just amazing. This is similar to the shamanistic dances done by shamans, witch doctors, and voodoo priests throughout human history. The only difference is that Jim Morrison was not possessed as they surrendered their bodies to the demonic beings. Jim Morrison exhibited very similar behavior throughout his The shaman led, Morrison said, a sensuous panic deliberately evoked through drugs, chants, dancing hurls the shaman into trance. Changed a voice, convulsive movement. He acts like a madman. Jim Morrison in the book Break On Through point out that he was, quote, opening himself to be used and abused by any spiritual entity that happened to come along. The result may have been some amazing inspirations, but also a tragically restless and misdirected life. Incredibly, the same spirits that brought Mr. Mojo Horizon, as he liked to refer to himself, up to power, also brought him down to destruction. These same demonic beings that used Jim Morrison's body as a puppet to influence the masses would later discard it, as he would die only months after the death of Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin. Jim Morrison admitted that he had to drink to silence the constant voices of the demons who were tormenting him. Frank Lisiandro, Doors photographer, stated that, quote, Jim drank to quiet the ceaseless clamor of the demons, ghosts, and spirits begging for release. He drank because there were demons and voices and spirits shouting inside his head, and he found that one of the ways to quell them was with alcohol. The same demons who took Jim Morrison down desired to use his body and the body of countless different rock stars to take as many people in the world as possible down with them, including you.